What's up, Broncos country? Welcome into our live show of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and yes, after a brief hiatus last week where there weren't, enough people in the office to make a live show happen, obviously with the holiday and everything, we're back and ready to deliver an excellent live show for you today. Super excited to be back. Cannot wait to get started. And I want to start off a little bit differently today. Obviously, we're starting a little early today, and that's for good reason because I missed you last week, couldn't wait to see you. So if you are already in the chat below, do me a favor and spam ready for a shout out on today's show. I'm going to start listing them off as we get ready to get into our program, but type ready if you want a shout out for the show. Obviously, couple more days, about a week actually, until the Broncos rookies report to training camp. And then about 7 days after that, 9 days after that, somewhere around there, the Broncos full team will show up for a training camp. And I don't know about you, but to me, training camp signifies the beginning of the NFL season. All right, let's get those readies going. We got Roger saying ready. Brett, what up, Brett, saying ready. Carl, what up, dude? Ready. Mark, hello, everybody. Let's ride, he says. Broncos. Well, that's Alpha Wolf. Excuse me. Alpha Wolf, what's going on, brother? Grant, good to see you. Zach says ready. Victory Lap says, just watched a video breaking down Pat Bryant. He is going to ball out this season. Couldn't agree more with you. I can't wait to see him on the field. Rocky Mountain says ready. Chase says ready. Ready. Super excited. Chris, what up, my guy? Dakota says ready. AP says ready. That's an interesting little thumbnail you got going on there, AP. Alpha Wolf says ready. Mark says, my Broncos season never ends. Die Hard fans, love it. There's your Mile High salute. Jody says ready. Free to join Biz Ideas says, Moose. Yes, free? Can I help you, my friend? God, I'm so excited to be back, you guys. I wanted to go live last week, and then we got double booked. So it was supposed to be me going live, and then it was supposed to be another host here that went live. And we only had a couple of producers that were actually in the office, so it just became so chaotic. I said, look, I'd be willing to sacrifice this one time if the Ravens host, Joey Peterson, wants to go live with his producer. So we were kind of sharing a producer, and I said, I'll just double up on some videos. It won't be a big deal. But next week, I'm going to be back. And here I am, ready to deliver. Victory Lap, hold that thought because that's one of the topics on today's show, a little hush-hush. Now, I do want to start off the show again, like I said, a little bit different. Keep those readies going, but I was thinking about this. And I don't know if you guys knew this about the hosts here at Chat Sports. When a new host comes in, they kind of have to earn their keep, meaning we're not allowed to really start giving away stuff on the program until we hit a certain amount of revenue and we have a certain amount of time underneath our belt. Well, I'm happy to report that we had an unbelievable month of June, and I got to clap it up for you because you really were the ones that helped me in my first full month of hosting push along the metrics and the revenue side of things, and I cannot be more grateful for that. So we have been rewarded the ability to start giving items away. Not so fast. We're not giving away this Broncos football quite yet. But as I was getting the green light to start thinking about items to give away before the season starts, or during the season rather, I started to think about all of the things that were important to me. And while I have been kind of pushing for, different shirts and different clothing items on our shows, I really wanted to get something that meant a lot to me. And the United States military means a lot to me. Not only do I support this great country that we live in, but I have family members that have served. My grandfather served in the Korean War. My great-grandfather served in World War II. So to me, the United States military means something. So what I wanted to do was make sure that we could order something that everybody could get involved in while also supporting something that's a great cause for at least me. So this Broncos Salute to Service football is currently on Fanatics. Now, I will say this. The bosses said, that's fine. We will be able to order this for you, but you've got to earn the amount of funds in order to kind of cover the cost of the football. So the football costs $50. So if we can start chipping away at getting to as close to $100, we want to double that price. Now, it doesn't have to happen on this particular show, right? I'm not saying, hey, we have to make $100 on today's show or else. But if we could earn $50 on today's show, it would go a long way to being able to order this and then eventually auction this football off on Veterans Day, November 11th, which, of course, is a Tuesday, so we'll be live. So that's my plan. I want to make sure that we can get as many signatures for Super Chatters and Mile High's faithful on this football and then auction it off and kind of give it away on the show live on Veterans Day. So we have to be able to get to $50 on today's show to start it. And then I'll go back to my bosses, says, look, Broncos country, they want this football. They want to support the United States military and the show. And then, boom, magic happens. So if you could, throw in a quick little super chat. It helps go a long way to get cool stuff like this. Obviously, you don't have to. Completely fine if you don't. We understand. All right. Before we get into today's topic, got a question for you. Should the Broncos extend Sean Payton? Like if you were George Payton today and Sean said, I want a contract extension, are you extending him today? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below and defend your answer as to why. Biggie says, you playing CFB 26? You know, I've been thinking about that. I've been trying to justify spending the money to get it. I'm still working on a couple of Road to Glories in college football 2025, so I'm not sure that I'll get it quite yet. But at some point within the next couple of months, I'm sure I'll cave and I'll get it myself. Rocky Mountain says, duh, as if it was even a question. I think you kind of have to. You kind of have to think that, like, if this season goes well, if they win the West and they win a playoff game or two, you have to think that an extension is coming. Because Sean Payton, while he's not young, he's not old, right? Like, he's kind of in the back tail of his prime as a coach, and he's got plenty more years left as a head football coach. And like I said, if things go well this year for the Broncos, if they go 12-5, win the AFC West, win a playoff game or two, or possibly something better, you have to think an extension is coming. Although Sean Payton is already the second highest paid coach in the NFL. Alpha says, yes, he's helped the Broncos so much, he even helped us beat the Chiefs. I'll tell you what, I don't think this is the Chiefs' year at all. And coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to have 3 segments on today's show. The first of which is all about how the Broncos can dethrone the Chiefs and the Chargers atop the AFC West. So why the Broncos could win the AFC West. We've talked about how it's possible with their roster construction that they have the talent to do so, but what's the game plan look like to win the AFC West? Well, I'm going to break it all down for you. Then we're going to talk a little bit more about Zach Allen and how he got completely disrespected, this time from the actual NFL, and some Broncos trade rumors. Hush, hush. We'll get into all of that here on the show. 3 great segments just for you guys. I got producer Dylan on the 1s and 2s today. What up, Dilly?
What up, what up?
How's it going, my friend? It's been a long time since I've seen you.
It has been a long time. Got a little busy with NBA free agency, but we're back now.
Yeah, you were covering the Bulls channel, were you not, during free agency?
Bulls and Heat. It was a crazy week last week.
Oh my God, yeah. You were all over the place. How did that go? Was it fun?
It was fun, but it was also pretty hectic. Glad that it's kind of calmed down a bit.
That day 1 of NBA free agency was pretty hectic. And then it kind of slowed down, I thought. Day 2 and day 3, not much happened.
Yeah, the first day, nothing happened for like the first hour. So we were just like chilling on stream, just waiting for a move. And then finally, the first move came, and then all the others followed.
Hey, listen, I will never understand the NBA as much as I understand the NFL, but to each their own. Listen, I know the Nuggets are really good, so even though they got rid of Aaron Gordon.
Is probably the best player in the NBA.
Joshua Kirby in the chat below. What up, my boy Josh? He says, let's go. Cannot wait to get started. We got 50 people in the building right now. Let's start our first segment when we hit 20 likes. How about that? Super easy. All we need is 7. Let's start the first segment when we hit 20 likes. Happy Tuesday to you, my friend. Thank you so much. Carl, absolutely mile-high salute to all of our soldiers out there keeping our freedom. And remember, it starts with one super chat. If we can get up to $50 today, my bosses are going to get the green light to start ordering us some stuff to give away, like that salute to service football that I want to give away on Veterans Day. There is football this month, Biggie. There is football this month. 3 likes away, and we will jump right on it. Guys, we're like 60 days away from Broncos football. Can you believe it? The first game is on September 7th. Am I correct, Dylan? Okay. September 7th is the first game, which is, funny enough, my dad's birthday. Just in case you haven't been aware, I want to be completely transparent with you guys. The first watch party against the Titans will not, it's either not going to be me or we're not going to have one. I get married that weekend. So, you know, the first week, unfortunately, we're not going to be available to do a watch party. I will get a video out for you guys that night, that Sunday night, recapping the game between the Broncos and the Titans, but we will not have a live watch party because I'll be in Minneapolis getting married to my future wife. So it'll be an interesting dynamic because I told her, I was like, listen, there's Broncos football on that Sunday. We get married on that Friday, but obviously the whole weekend is, the wedding weekend, Dylan. So, it's just one of those things where, like, you got to stay the whole weekend with the whole wedding party and how much they're spending to travel up to Minnesota, which is where my fiance's family is from. But at the same time, I was like, babe, it's week 1. It's week 1 of the NFL season, right? Like, we have to be able to watch some Broncos football. And she gets it. So she's like, we're not going to be back in Dallas in time for you to go do the watch party, but we'll be back in time for you to make a full recap video, kind of breaking everything down. So I will be able to watch the game. We'll have a video, full coverage for you afterwards. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that, my friend. It's your boy, says, doing a great job, Moose. Keep it up. Thanks, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the chat today. I appreciate the kind words. And listen, we have got a lot of great stuff coming your way for the NFL season. I'm so excited to cover this team, your favorite team, and I really do believe, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, I do believe this is one of the most talented Broncos teams that we've seen since they won the Super Bowl back in 2016. So we're talking 9 seasons. This is probably the most talented team they've had since then. I can't wait to cover it. Okay. We hit 21 likes. We got 42 people watching. Mr. Dylan, how are we looking on your end? Are we good to go? All right. I love that. All right. So remember, why the Broncos could win the AFC West. I'm going to break it down how they can steal the title from the Chiefs and knock out the LA Chargers coming up in this episode. Before we get started on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown, we have been issued a brand new subscriber challenge. And I just love this. I think it's absolutely hysterical that Tyler Jones, the host of the Chiefs Report, thinks that before the first preseason game starts, we can't beat him in subscribers. And I said, Broncos country has my back. So do me a favor, if you haven't already, lock us in, hit that subscribe button. We're well on our way to 37,000 subscribers. Let's get pumped up, Broncos country. I can't wait for today's episode because it's all about how the Broncos can dethrone the reigning Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC West champions for what, like 6 years running, but also how they can knock out the LA Chargers as well. That's right, partner, how they can control the West, the AFC West, that is. So I've highlighted a 3-step plan to knock off both the Chiefs and the Chargers from contention. 3-step plan for the Chiefs, a 3-step plan for the Chargers. Now, I know that the Chiefs are the ones that everybody has their eye on, so I'm going to start with the lesser of the two bigger brothers, and that would be the Los Angeles Chargers, who, by the way, swept the Broncos last year, went 2-0. So let's start with the most basic one. Force Justin Herbert to throw often. What? Moose, how can you say that? He's a really good quarterback. Not so fast, my friend. There's a reason I say this. Now, on the surface level alone, and by going back and watching the tape, yes, Justin Herbert is a very, very good quarterback. Top 10 in the NFL, there's no doubt. And under the direction of Jim Harbaugh, he got even better than we anticipated. I mean, the numbers, they prove it. He was unbelievable last season in 2024. A completion percentage of 66%, almost 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, to only 3 interceptions, and had a quarterback rating of 101.7. On the field, the eye test will tell you he is going to be the LA Chargers quarterback for a long, long time. But he's not that great against the blitz. In fact, when he played the Texans last year in the playoffs, he threw 4 picks. And what were the Texans' defense known for? Blitzing early, blitzing often, and never letting up. They are one of the most relentless defenses in the NFL. Shout out to D'Amico Ryan. But remember, this isn't the Texans Today channel. This is the Broncos Breakdown. So, obviously, when you attack Justin Herbert, who will play twice this season and could potentially see in the playoffs, you've got to be able to force him to throw and make those mistakes. Put the pressure on him early and often. Jim Harbaugh loves to run the football. He's got that 1970s mentality. It's ground and pound all the time. If you can force Justin Herbert to play a more modern style of football, he will make mistakes. That's guaranteed. My second plan, or second step of the plan, I should say, kind of goes hand in hand with forcing Justin Herbert to throw the ball. Press LA's wide receivers hard. It's no secret that the biggest weakness right now on the Chargers is their receiving core. It's not very good. After they lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, it kind of went downhill. Now, they drafted Ladd McConkey last year, who proved to be a very good wide receiver. He's their wide receiver 1. They found a nice little hidden gem. He's proven to be a very, very capable player. No doubt in my mind. But outside of Ladd McConkey, who else? I mean, let's just really be honest. Like Trey Harris, the guy they drafted in the 2025 draft? Yeah, listen, he's got one route, deep. And you put Pat Surtain on Trey Harris, good luck. You ain't going to get by Pat. So if you press those wide receivers at the line of scrimmage and force them to be physical with you all day long, kind of beat Jim Harbaugh at his own game, who's Justin Herbert going to be able to throw to? Quentin Johnston? That guy couldn't catch a cold in a freaking ice storm. Like, it's not even remotely close that the Broncos secondary far outweighs the talent on the wide receiver side of the position for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, like I said, they play rough and tough football. There's no finesse to their game. They're going to stack the line of scrimmage. They're going to go single back formation, 2 wide receivers out wide, and they're going to try and nickel and dime you to death on the ground. And then just when you move up to play against them in the run, they're going to let it rip downfield. That's their kind of game. But if you can force them to play a more modern style of football, a more spread out version of the shotgun offense, then you have a shot to beat them. Because if you play Jim Harbaugh at his best and you play him and you try to go punch for punch with him, it ain't going to work. And that's just the truth. At least not on the offensive side of the football. So are you worried about the Chargers heading into the 2025 season? Yes or no? I'm going to say soft yes. I wouldn't say I'm worried about them, but they definitely aren't someone you have to take lightly because they do have a much better quarterback. They do have a much better head coach. And, of course, they've been the team that has, been making strides to also dethrone the Chiefs in the West. So I'm not worried about them, but I'm also not worried about them, if that makes sense. Let's talk about the final step of the plan. Attack the defensive line early. I know. They have a really good defense. They do. And they rated very high last year in total defense. But there's one area on the defensive side of the ball that they're not even close to as good at against the pass. And that's their run-stopping defense. In fact, it was kind of middle of the pack. They allowed 117.5 rushing yards per game. So clearly there is a way to stop that defensive line. It's pound the ball up the middle. So as I just said, on the defensive side of the ball, don't allow them to play rough and tough. You have to play rough and tough when you get on the offensive side of the football. And this screenshot right here kind of perfectly encapsulates what I'm talking about. I know it's the Chiefs against the Chargers, but this is an I formation where Travis Kelce lines up out wide. He actually goes in motion on this play and then stacks up on the opposite end of that edge rusher there on the right side. If you can pound the ball up the middle and force this team to play, up, you can get them on their heels enough to where you can take the top off the defense in the play action. Bo's arm is more than capable. His playmaking ability, more than capable. So force the Chargers to play up and then just air it out. Let it rip. Do the exact opposite of what I told you to do when you were working on defense. Does that make sense? Because the one thing you cannot do against Jim Harbaugh on the defensive side of the ball is play his game. But if you force them to play your game on offense, you see where I'm going with this? It just makes a lot more sense. So that's the 3-step plan that I have to take out the Chargers. Still got to talk about the Chiefs. And that plan, a little bit more in depth, a little bit more convoluted, in my opinion. But before we do that, my friends, this great deal is going on right now at Fanatics. $44.99 was the original price of this jersey. It is now $29.24. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Broncos jersey. It's midnight black. It's got stretchy fabric. It's completely customizable. And it's got your name literally written all over it. So do me a favor. Use the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video and start shopping with Fanatics today. Okay, let's talk about the Chiefs. Let's beat them. Here's how you do it. First thing you got to do, keep Mahomes off the field. Last year, Mahomes actually looked somewhat human. And that's not something I could have said in the previous 5 or 6 years of his career. I mean, this was the worst season statistically he's had in his entirety of playing in the NFL. And it's not close. And these numbers, kind of mid. They're slightly above average, but for him, they're terrible. Now, despite his down year, he still can light you up on any given week. And I think Broncos fans know that better than anybody. So you can't take Patrick Mahomes lightly. I'm not saying that, he's going to be all world next year, but you can clearly expect that there's going to be a better version of Patrick Mahomes this year. Apathy sets in after you've won 3 Super Bowls. I'm sure last year was one of those down years. So, despite, like I said, his down year, he's going to come back firing on all cylinders. So the best way to prevent that is to just literally keep him off the field. The Broncos defense is so good that they can handle Mahomes when he's on the field. But the offense has to do a good job of milking that clock and maintaining long, sustained drives so that Patrick Mahomes can't get in a rhythm. That's the best part about offense when you're at least humming along. You can manipulate the game with the clock. And I think that's one of the main reasons that teams are able to stop Patrick Mahomes. The second way, and this we saw in the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs and the Eagles, get home with 4 pass rushers. The blueprint on how to make Patrick Mahomes' life uncomfortable was to rush 4, drop 7 in coverage. And this completely, is captured by this screenshot that I found of the Super Bowl last year. So if you take a look at what the Eagles were able to do, they line up 1, 2, 3, 4 on the defensive line, and then they drop everybody else back in coverage with a single high safety roaming in the backfield. So what does this mean? This means that if you trust your secondary and you trust your coverage linebackers and you trust your defensive line to beat the offensive line of the Chiefs, you're going to make his life a living hell, because now he can't scoot up inside of the pocket and try to make something happen or take off with his legs, because you're going to have guys roaming the middle of the field. So you get pressure with the front four, you drop 7 back in coverage, force him to make an errant throw. And the Chiefs' weapons that they currently have on their roster, they don't have enough firepower to beat all the other teams in different passing areas, right? They don't have Tyreek Hill anymore to take it over the top. Travis Kelce's getting over, who is always the safety, getting older. He was always the safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes. So if I'm looking at the way that the Chiefs roster and their wide receiver room is currently set up, I mean, Rashid Rice is pretty good. Xavier Worthy's a gadget player. He's fast, but doesn't possess the route running capabilities yet. And Hollywood Brown is a good 3. But, I mean, can we all be honest for a second? Like, the real threat to the Broncos is Mahomes. If you can take Mahomes out of the equation and just leave it up to the Chiefs wide receivers, you're going to win that football game. Period, hands down. So I'm really excited to see how Vance Joseph attacks Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid when they go up and face each other. I think the first one is in week 10. Week 10 or week 11. Don't quote me on that. All right, final step of the plan. Play smart football inside the 20s. This is where a little bit of my conspiracy theory comes out. I'm going to be the guy that says the refs are clearly on the side of the Chiefs. I don't think the games are rigged. That's not what I'm saying. But I do believe that the players that make this league money get preferential treatment, which means they get a little bit more love from the refs. If you watched any Chiefs game last year, you would have seen it plain as day. The refs favored Mahomes and Andy Reid. The Chiefs are a money-making cash cow for the NFL. They want to protect their best asset. So, if that means a call goes a little here, call goes a little bit there, they're going to make it for the Chiefs. With that in mind, don't get baited inside the red zone. Play your smartest football inside of the 20s. If you can force the Chiefs to make field goals or force them to punt inside their own 20s, you are doing something right. And I found a nice little screenshot that kind of indicates how I expect the Broncos defense to attack Mahomes while they're inside the red zone. This was taken on the 20-yard line for the Chiefs. You got Mahomes there in a spread formation. Notice the 2 wing defenders coming out. They're going to attack on the inside while also having your 2 down linemen punch up the middle. So there's a variety of different ways to keep Mahomes at bay inside the red zone. You just can't be baited by going off sides with roughing the passer calls or any unnecessary roughness penalties while you're inside the hash marks. All right. I realize it was a very long episode, but that's what we're here for. We break everything down about the Denver Broncos. You're going to get full Denver Broncos coverage all season long, not only in the offseason, but also during the season when the time is right to watch this football team. So if you haven't already, do me a favor and hit subscribe. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Remember to like the video, and as always, be cool. Whew! That was a long one. Long one, Dilly. Long one, Dilly. Where are we at? There's a... Oh, we did get a super chat there from Mark. Appreciate that, Mark. We're going to get that up on screen here in just a second. I'm kind of lost. I know people are having a conversation right now in the chat, but I don't understand the context at which we're at. Somebody fill me in here real quick. I want to get in on the conversation too, guys. By the way, I'm just existing as has the right idea. If you want to get featured on our mailbag episode, make sure you use hashtag Broncos to get your question in. It has to have hashtag Broncos, or you can super chat like our friend Mark did here. Broncos fan challenge. Match my super chat with the Broncos beat the Chiefs twice post. Fan challenge. Match my super chat with the Broncos beat the Chiefs twice post. Do you understand what that means, Dylan? No. Am I understanding this correct? Like, match it if you think we're going to beat the Chiefs twice? Am I getting that correct? Or am I way off? They're talking about Bo Nix disrespect. Yeah, he does get disrespected too frequently, in my opinion. Way too frequently. Either way, Mark, I appreciate the $5 super chat, my friend. That helps us get to our goal of $50 on today's show. All right, Mr. Dilly. You want to throw up that live sub counter real quick? Bang, bang. No, you're good. No worries. No time. Well, you got plenty of time, I should say. Yeah, so the Bo Nix disrespect, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I feel like the guys from PFF and the guys from ESPN, they're kind of still going off of what they thought Bo was going to be when he was drafted, which was kind of a bigger version of Brock Purdy. And that's clearly not his game. He was far more athletic than any of us gave him credit for. He certainly surprised me. I'll be the first one to admit it. When I saw Bo get drafted by the Broncos, I thought the same thing. I was like, going to play on script, going to play on time, going to be right in the middle of the pack pretty much every single year. I was happily proven wrong. He was electric the second half of the season. Match it with that idea. Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you, my friend. Alpha. Great job for getting that hashtag Broncos in there. I said that the Broncos has only 200 yards last 34 to 31 touchdowns and a less completion percentage, and Jaden is the next Brady, and Nix is solid. Well, Jaden can't be the next Tom Brady. They play a completely different style of quarterback. Tom Brady only wishes that on his best day ever, he had half the athleticism that Jaden Daniels does. Tom Brady was not an athletic quarterback. He was just a really smart quarterback and understood how to manipulate the line of scrimmage better than anybody I've ever seen. Anybody. Biggie says, I feel like it's less disrespect and more overrating Jaden Daniels than comparing Bo to that. Listen, I'm a big Jaden Daniels believer. I think he's got the skill set to be like Lamar Jackson. But with that being said, if you were going to ask me about longevity in their careers, like, who's going to have a better 3-year career span? I think it'll be Jaden. If you were to ask me who's going to have a better 7-year career span or 10-year career span, it's going to be Bo. Because Bo's skill set and what he offers as a pocket passing quarterback is far greater in the long run than what Jaden Daniels offers right now. Jaden Daniels is going to get hit one time, and he's going to be knocked out. Like, he's still very slight. He's still very thin. And if he gets a, head-on-head contact or major, collision course with a linebacker or a defensive lineman, he's out for the count. Bo's bigger. Bo's stronger. And Bo has a better pocket presence, in my opinion, than Jaden Daniels does. And that's just the truth. All right, we got 52 people watching right now, and we are, wow, what is that, 34? Quick math, Dylan? Is that 34? 34 subscribers away from the next milestone, which is unbelievable, my friends. Well, I started hosting just less than 2 months ago. So we're almost at 2,000 subscribers since I took over, which is unbelievable. And I know that everybody's like, quit, farming for subs. Quit farming for subs. It's part of the job, my friends. This is, kind of what the job description is that, we have to push for our metrics as well, especially during the off season when there's not a lot of football to talk about. So if you could do me a huge favor, if you haven't already, with the 66 people now watching, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. We got Broncos content coming your way not only on this live show, but every single day, 365 days a year. Danny's in the chat. What up, Danny? That's a great question. I love a good fantasy football question. I really do. Sweet stuff. Sweet stuff. Josh, if you ask that question and you put hashtag Broncos, I'll answer it for you in our mailbag. In our mailbag. All right. Coming up here in just a second, we're going to have our second part of the show, and that's all about Zach Allen getting disrespected again, this time by the NFL. So this wasn't PFF. This wasn't ESPN. This is straight from the horse's mouth. The NFL has disrespected Zach Allen. Unbelievable stuff. Couldn't believe it when I read it, Dylan. I'm still kind of heated about it, but we're going to talk about it here on the show today. You have my word on that. Danny says, what up, Moose? Good to see you. Great to see you, my friend. Hopefully you had a wonderful 4th of July. I'm Just Existing says, look at the stats. Bo had 4,200 total yards. Jaden had 44. Bo Nix has 34 total touchdowns. Jaden had 31. Bo Nix was also a better pocket quarterback. Jaden is good, but so is Nix. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I feel like we're saying the same thing. That Jaden is the more dynamic player at this time, and he'll be the more exciting player in the next couple of years because of how, dual threat and how much of a dual threat ability he has. But longevity-wise, I'm taking Bo all day. Okay. Mr. Dillon, are you ready? All right. Let's talk about the disrespect that Zach Allen has endured once again. Same shit, different toilet. Don't you agree? What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and yep, on today's episode, we're talking about it again, the Zach Allen disrespect. But this time, not from an article, not from ESPN. No. This comes from the league itself. The NFL has disrespected Zach Allen. So let's talk about what I'm exactly talking about. The Denver Broncos Twitter page actually posted this out and said, making his hashtag NFL Top 100 debut at number 90 is Zach Allen. I'll give him a clap for making the list, but number 90? I feel like Nick Bonito summed up my thoughts exactly by saying this on his Twitter. Too low. That's all he said. He reposted it, and Mr. Bonito, I am 100% on board with you. Absolutely. That is far too low. And the more and more that I think about it, the more and more I question why on earth the NFL, ESPN, PFF has such a gripe against Zach Allen. I don't get why they don't have him higher on any of these lists. If you remember earlier on, we made a video about where PFF ranked him, and he was like number 20 on defensive line players heading into the 2025 season, which, you could look at one way and say, hey, it's great that he's at, number 20 and climbing up that list. But at the same time, you could look at the statistics and the achievements that he made in 2024 and say, what are you thinking? And I get the only way that you could kind of convince me, sort of, that he should be lower on the list is because last year was the first real year that you saw the tremendous output from Zach Allen. So let's go over the top 100. I'm not going to bore you with the 100 through 90 because who really cares? You just need to know about the guys that were rated slightly above him. So coming in at number 93 was a Kansas City Chiefs player, their center, Creed Humphrey. Then Jesse Bates, the strong safety from the Falcons. Tua Tagovailoa at number 91. And then Zach Allen at number 90. And again, is it me or does it just feel way too low? And I'm sure you're echoing my sentiments right now. It's just got to be blatant disrespect. I don't know if it's because they don't watch the tape, they're only going off of PFF grades, or what. But I'm going to break it down here in just a little bit. But before I do that, if you want a shout out on the very next show that we're going to do, I've got a quick little challenge for you. Share this video and tag me on X. So all you got to do is click that little share icon at the bottom of your video, post it over on X, and then tag me, click send, and once I see that notification came through, you, my friend, will have a shout out on the next episode, probably tomorrow on Wednesday. So do me a favor, like I said, do exactly what I told you. It's Moose_NFL. Click that share icon, post it to X, tag me. Super simple. I'll give you a shout out. All right, back on to the topic at hand, the Zach Allen disrespect. If I look back at what Zach Allen was able to do in 2024, we are talking elite company. Now, this is a statistic that I've thrown at you multiple times here on the show, but only a handful of players, 5 to be exact, since 2010, have had the privilege of having 40 quarterback hits in a single season. Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, and Zach Allen. And the 2024 season statistics are outlandish. 61 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, 40 quarterback hits. Oh, but the PFF grade wasn't that great. You do realize that Zach Allen plays almost every single snap, right? So he's not going to make an impact on every single play. That's where PFF gets it wrong. So I'm clueless. I literally have no idea why Allen doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But then again, you could go look at every single article written about him, saying how much money he's going to command in his next contract. But those two are incongruous. If you're thinking that he's going to get over $100 million, then why on earth do you have him this low on the NFL's top 100, or in PFF's case, number 20 on the defensive lineman ranking? It just doesn't make any sense. Because, truth be told, when it comes to the centerpiece of this Denver Broncos defensive line, he is the main focus. He is someone to build around. He is the guy that can stop the run. He can get after the quarterback. He can put pressure on the quarterback. He makes opposing offenses a life of living hell. And yet, nobody seems to want to give him the credit that he so rightly deserves. We're too busy talking about Trey Hendrickson and whether or not he's going to get traded. Or T.J. Watt, if he's going to get, Myles Garrett type money. But quietly, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's because he's not, all over the media and making outlandish statements left and right. Maybe it's because when he gets on the field, all he's doing is playing football and working his ass off. And maybe that's why he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. That's my rant for right now. So let me ask you this. Will Zach Allen duplicate his 2024 season? Yes or no? I'm going to say he does duplicate it, but I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to say he beats his production in 2024, which is exactly what I'm going to talk about right now. Predicting Zach Allen's 2025 season. But before we do that, remember, we were challenged by Tyler Jones, the Chiefs Report host, which I find absolutely hysterical. We live rent-free in his head. We're both at 0 subs. Here's the sub challenge. Every day from now until the very first preseason game, which I believe is about a month away at this point, we have a subscriber challenge. All we have to do is beat the Chiefs Report in subs until that first preseason game. If we can do that, we get to rub his big fat nose in it. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for free Broncos content all season long. So let's talk about the guy that I believe could end up winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. I know Pat Surtain won it, but let's be real. The next player that could do it on the Broncos defense is probably Zach Allen. He's one of my favorite defensive linemen in the entirety of the league. So, what are those projections, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because here is Moose's 25 projections. Dun, 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 dun. 69 tackles, giggity. 17.5 tackles for loss. 9.5 sacks. 38 quarterback hits, so that dips down just a little bit. And a PFF grade of 72.7, which is, 5 points higher than he had in 2024. Look, we're talking about a guy that is going to command an outlandish contract. And if he's going to give that or get that money, which I'm totally on board with, those are the numbers that I'm expecting to see from him. Because top of the line money deserves top of the line production. And every single player in the highest paid defensive lineman in the NFL, I know it says defensive tackles, but they lump in tackles and linemen on this list. All of these guys have proven something at the highest level. Chris Jones is a sack machine. Christian Wilkins is kind of just like Zach Allen, can do both in the run and get after the quarterback. Every single player on this list right here, including a Milton Williams, who just signed with the Patriots for that $26 million a year, they all showed the ability to do it at the very best level, at least something. So that leads me to believe that Allen is not only going to get locked up, but the Broncos are going to expect that this is their centerpiece on the defensive line for the next couple of years to come. Cleveland has Myles Garrett. Pittsburgh has TJ Watt. Cincinnati has Trey Hendrickson. Kansas City has Chris Jones. It's time to get the guy that everybody knows is the centerpiece of the defensive line, and it's time to make sure that he knows just how valued he is, not only by the Broncos, but by the rest of the league. So, I'll end today's episode by asking you this question. How many Broncos players will make the NFL's top 100? You got to think it's going to be Pat Surtain. Zach Allen's already there. Bo Nix, Benito, Miners, Cortland Sutton. 6? I'm going to say 5 conservatively. But you let me know in the comment section down below. Whoo! I felt like I was on a roll there for a second, my friend. I am tired of the slander. The utter disrespect, Dylan. It's ridiculous. What's up? Hey, look at that. We did gain a sub. Jump on the mic real quick, Dylan. Say hello to the nice people. It can't just be my annoying voice the entire time.
Hello, Broncos country. I know you're a little mixed about still being called that.
Broncos country?
Yeah.
No, they love Broncos country.
They love Broncos
yeah,
country?
they love Broncos country. That is a great nickname, but it's the let's ride that a lot of people have a problem with. And that's because Russell Wilson kind of cringed his way out of that, which is, just one of those things. I personally, and maybe they feel differently, I personally don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. I think the way that Russ did it was cringy, but I feel like what do I call it? What am I saying here? The phrase itself is actually kind of hard. You know what I mean? It's like let's ride. But it's because Russ said it and there was such a, tumultuous time in Denver that everyone has a negative connotation with it.
I think that's just Russ also. Like,
it is, dude. He's so cringy.
Yeah.
He's so cringy. I don't know why. Do you remember the Subway commercials where he's like, I'm feeling dangerous?
Yes.
That's so, ugh. It makes my skin crawl just thinking about it.
I feel like he never did that in Seattle.
No, he didn't, but
I don't know what happened.
But there was a lot of stories in Seattle of him just being like he was just kind of this weird guy, and everyone just kind of got a bad vibe from him. Richard Sherman had nothing nice to say about Russ, other than the fact that he's a good quarterback. Russ was our starting guy. He's carved off a really good career for himself. On the field, nobody complained. But the moment that he was off the field, everyone was like, dude, shut up. Mr. Unlimited. Joshua said, unlimited. Do you remember when he made that short? I think it was on his TikTok page. Where he was talking about how he had diarrhea. He's like, unlimited diarrhea.
He did that?
He did. I swear to God, you could look it up right now.
I don't know if I want to look it up.
I know. It's disgusting. He was super cringe, though. Jermaine says Broncos are winning the Super Blow. I know what you meant, Jermaine. I'm just fucking with you. Pardon my French. Unlimited. Limited. All right. Remember, we have a mailbag up next. And spoiler alert, we've got some interesting trade rumors to talk about in this one particular episode, I guess we can call it, because we did get a hashtag Broncos far earlier today, and it kind of sparked a little bit of a thought for me that maybe the Broncos aren't done trading yet. But this is a very unlikely candidate the Broncos will trade for. I'm just going to spoil that for you right now. Nonetheless, it is fun to talk about. Giants country, let's... What? What do they do? Let's blue? Because they're big blue, right? Yeah, but he says Giants country, let's what? Let's giant? No, it was... Oh, maybe it was Steelers country. Let's steal. Let's mine. I don't know. All right. Enough Russell Wilson talk. We're over that. All right. Remember, let's get some hashtag Broncos in here. I'm going to start calling out some people. I've already seen some awesome questions from I'm Just Existing from Joshua. Same with Mark. Danny, if you could. Danny got a question in as well. That's great. I'm going to call out Jermaine with a hashtag Broncos. Let's get a question from you, Jermaine. Let's go Kenneth Miller. What up, my friend? Let's get a hashtag Broncos from you. Steelers country. Let's weld. How many questions do we have, by the way, Producer Dylan? 9? Okay, let's make sure we get like 2 or 3 more, and then what's up? Biggie Smalls. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Let's get a couple more questions in here. We'll get 2 more before we start our last mailbag episode here on Broncos Breakdown Live. Remember, our goal today is $50 in Super Chat, so if you do want to support the show, greatly appreciate it. If not, totally understand, no big deal. But we are trying to raise $50 today so that we can start ordering something like that sweet Salute to Service football. Do you want to show that real quick before we start and let those other questions come in here in just a little bit? One second. There it is. It's gorgeous. Look at that thing. So I want to order something similar to this, and I want to get a bunch of subscribers' signatures and names on this. I have a very big soft spot for the United States military. I had a couple of family members that served. My great-grandfather served in World War II. My grandfather served in Korea. So the United States military is something I'm very passionate about. I love the servicemen and women that are out there every single day fighting for us. And I truly believe that, having something to give away like this is just a small token of our appreciation. And look, I want to raffle it off on Veterans Day, which is a Tuesday, November 11th. So if we can raise enough funds to get a football like this to where you guys can get your names on this as well, it'd be even better. So this is the football that I want to get. Perfect. Look at that. Awesome. Danny comes in with the $2 super chat. We'll get you on screen here in just a second. That's the type of stuff that I mean, guys. Like, I love your support. Everything is greatly appreciated. And look, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. To give away cool stuff on our watch parties during the season, we've got to be able to get some super chats. It's just the way that life goes here at Chat Sports. But again, completely optional. Everything that you guys do and all the content that you want to see, greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Wilson. Oh, I get that. That's funny. A Wilson football, like Russell Wilson. That's funny. I like that. All right. Looks like we've got plenty of questions here. Sound good? Thank you, Danny, so much for your super chat. He said, keep up the great content. Yes, my friend, I will do my very, very best. Thank you so much for being a super fan of the show. And, of course, go Broncos. Danny's a legend. What's up? That's fine. That works. Yes. We good to go on your end of things, Mr. Dilly Dill? All right, sweet. Should have been gone, knowing how I... Thanks for sticking around, guys. I realize we're reaching just about an hour. We're going to start our mailbag episode here in just like 20 seconds, and then we'll wrap up the show and have you guys on your way. 4:40 right now here in Dallas, Texas. 3:40 in Denver, which is Mountain Time. Can't wait to get started here and answer your questions surrounding the Denver Broncos. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this mailbag edition of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports, which airs every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, before we get started, as you always do, you always come through for me. Hit that thumbs up on the video. Expands the channel, and it's like taking your shoes off when you walk into someone's house. Completely polite. Now, we are going to get into our questions here in just a second. While we have... Are we all good, Mr. Dillon? Okay, we're good. We'll just take this part out. Let's get into our first question, shall we? From Josh. He says, better receiver in 2 years, Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant? Excellent question. They play different styles of football. Troy Franklin is more the guy that you're going to line up in the slot, more over the middle of the field, a little bit of a smaller frame, but kind of that more lateral quickness that you're looking for, whereas Pat Bryant is silky smooth. Reminds you a lot of Michael Thomas, a guy that can, just make it look so effortless, and he also has unbelievable hands. That high point of attack for Pat Bryant is going to be his strength going forward in his NFL career. He is going to come down with so many contested catches, it's not even going to be close. I love the prospect that Pat Bryant is. So, as you can kind of tell, I'm going to say Pat Bryant becomes the better of the two here in the next couple of seasons, but I am expecting big things from Troy Franklin heading into year 2 as well. Thank you, Josh, for the question. Danny, which running back should you draft in fantasy first, and which round, J.K. Dobbins or R.J. Harvey? I'm going to say R.J. Harvey, and I'm going to say you could draft R.J. Harvey in round 4 or round 5. R.J. Harvey's going to be a really good RB2, and here's why. Fantasy football is a very different game than what your typical NFL fan thinks of the NFL. It's all about hyper productivity. Guys that can do multiple things and get yards and points. So you don't want to have a player that is strictly just a running back. You want a player that is more of that hybrid back that you're looking for, that pass catcher like a Christian McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara. And I think R.J. Harvey fits that mold far better than J.K. Dobbins will. Now, J.K. Dobbins might be a better runner, straight out of the gates, or might be a better runner of the football this season instead of R.J. Harvey. But when it comes to that dual threat ability, I would say you'd probably be better off drafting R.J. Harvey, but J.K. Dobbins would be a round 5 or round 6 pick, in my opinion, as well. Appreciate your question, Danny. Thanks for being a fan of the show. Aiden, how many more years do you think we got to deal with Mahomes until he retires or leaves the Chiefs? How much time do you got, my friend? He's going to be here for, barring any major injury, he's going to be here for the next 10 years. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. This is a guy that he's going to get paid whatever he wants by this Chiefs organization for the rest of eternity. I mean, they're going to continue to pay him over and over and over again. And for good reason. He's won 3 Super Bowls, right? Like, we're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. He's already a solidified Hall of Famer. You don't win 3 Super Bowls, put up the numbers that he has, and, just suddenly get dropped off the face of the earth. So probably 10 more years, I would say 7 at minimum. I hope that helps, but Unfortunately, that's just the cards we were dealt as Broncos fans. I'm just existing. Why is Bo Nix so disrespected? Bo Nix had 34 touchdowns, 200 total yards less than Jaden Daniels, and just less completion percentage than Daniels, and just slightly less, I'm assuming is what he means. So Nix is a solid quarterback, but Daniels is the next Brady? I'm assuming that what you're saying is that it is kind of unbelievable to think that there's that much hype around Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix is getting disrespected. And here's what I will say. I think you're half right and you're half wrong. I do believe there is a lot of Bo Nix disrespect, but Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback. He's one of the only quarterbacks in my lifetime that really hasn't gone through a rookie slump. The rookie growing pains were almost non-existent for him. I think it was by week 2. He was like in the prime of his, he looked like he was in prime form, like he was already, just splash touchdown in the NFL. Bo took a little bit longer. Now, the second half of the season, Bo really came into his own, and I believe longevity-wise, Bo Nix is going to have a far better career than Jaden Daniels will. In the next 7 years, give me Bo Nix all day and twice on Sunday, but Jaden is a far more dynamic player. Jaden is a quote-unquote more fun player to watch, but you can have fun all day. I'll take the efficiency. I'll take the guy that understands how to manipulate the pocket. I'll take the bigger, stronger, better build quarterback over the longevity of my NFL career. And you could put that in your pipe and smoke it twice. Sorry, Jaden Daniels fans. That's just my thought. Thank you, I'm just existing. Sponge blur. Kind of like that. Should the Broncos consider trading for Darnell Washington after the Miami-Pittsburgh mega trade? Oh boy. All right, let's talk about this. So Darnell Washington is currently the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and he was a 2023 draft pick in the 3rd round by the Steelers, and his rookie season didn't do much. It was almost kind of non-existent. He had only 7 catches his rookie season. But last year, you kind of saw at least a glimmer of hope from Darnell Washington, right? He's a good blocking tight end. He can add that little extra, bit there on the offensive line as a blocker, but also can be a red zone threat, in my opinion, albeit they didn't use him properly last year in Pittsburgh. And now with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how much that, what do you want to call it? That relationship is going to blossom, is going to bloom. It doesn't feel like the right fit for me, at least not in Pittsburgh. Now, I will go on to say that the Broncos were listed as a trade destination for Darnell Washington. In fact, Zach Seeger said this specifically about the trade. The Broncos should consider making a trade for Pittsburgh Steelers tight end Darnell Washington. The former Georgia Bulldog, where he was an absolute dog, no pun intended, is heading into his 3rd season in the NFL with the Steelers and is known for his excellent blocking ability, both as a run blocker and in pass protection. The trade proposal has the Broncos acquiring Washington for a 2027 6th-round pick, while an alternative offer sees the Broncos picking up Washington and a 2026 round pick for Adam Troutman and a 2026 5th-round pick. All right, let's talk about it for a second, because I actually don't hate the trade idea. Call me a little bit of a skeptic here, but I feel like for upside, Washington's got far more than Troutman ever did. But I don't see the value in trading for a guy like Darnell Washington despite his upside. There wasn't enough productivity on the field for me to garner giving up a player like Troutman and draft capital when really they kind of matched each other. I mean, that's kind of the exact stat line that we were talking about with Adam Troutman last season. So just based off of what we've seen prior, you'd be basically getting Adam Troutman for Adam Troutman. Now, like I said, the upside is definitely there for Washington. Heading into year 3, he's got a far higher potential to be great than Troutman does. I fully believe that. But I just don't see the value in it right this moment. But I'm going to ask you this question. Should the Broncos trade for Darnell Washington? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm saying no right now But obviously, with the upside that I could see from Troutman, I wouldn't be too upset if the Broncos ended up making this. So I'm going to say no, but if the Broncos did this deal, I wouldn't be upset about it whatsoever. Now, let me tell you guys about the deal going on right now at Fanatics. Not only can you get sweet stuff like customizable jerseys, but you can get this awesome Broncos hoodie, which is still on sale. I checked, 40% off right now. And all you got to do is use the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video. Just go to chatsports.com/Broncos hoodie. Made it super easy for you. Start shopping for the 2025 season and gear up for the upcoming year for the Broncos. All right, Alpha Wolf coming in next. Do you think we are set on offense? Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say I would like one more splash at wide receiver. Now, I've said multiple times that I trust the Broncos' young receiving corps to take the next step. I really do. So I'm not saying the Broncos need to do this, but I feel like it could add that little extra cherry on top, that little extra je ne sais quoi in order to take them from what everyone believes is a playoff team to a Super Bowl contender. And I think maybe going out and signing a guy like Keenan Allen, who says no? 1 year, $8 million deal. The Broncos have the cap space to do it. Go out and make a splash signing. Go ahead and make that last deal. Get somebody that can absolutely dominate the game at the wide receiver position from the slot. I think it makes perfect sense. But then again, I'm not George Payton. I'm not Sean Payton. I can only give you my opinion. Appreciate it, Alpha. Biggie, if the Broncos were to trade Jaquan McMillan, what do you think they would get? So we've explored Jaquan McMillan trades on this channel before. And honestly, for a starting caliber nickel corner, I could see the Broncos getting a 4th or a 5th round pick for Jaquan McMillan. I really could. I think he's a very solid NFL starter. I think you have to kind of look at trade compensation and draft capital compensation from different trades that have been made. And what did Jalen Ramsey get, producer Dylan? Was it a 3rd? I think it was a 3rd that Jalen Ramsey went for. But, Jaquan McMillan's not as good as Jalen Ramsey. So you'd have to, lower the compensation just a little bit. So I would say a 4th or a 5th round pick, probably somewhere in that 5th round pick. But again, I don't want to trade Jaquan McMillan. I feel like him and Jahdae Barron, as they rotate in that nickel corner spot, I think it's going to be one of the best nickel corner duos in the entire NFL, hands down. So I don't want to trade him, but if you were to trade him, probably a 4th or a 5th round pick. I'm just existing one more time, and after this, we will end today's episode. What do you think about Mims and Sutton? 1,000 yards plus each this season. Ooh, I like the way your head's at. Courtland Sutton's going to do it. Mark my words. It's not even going to be close. He's going to have one of the best seasons of his career. Mims, that's a little bit more tricky. I think it can happen, but I think you really have to prioritize the deep ball then, especially for Marvin Mims. His speed and athleticism to take the top off of defenses has to be utilized by Sean Payton and Bo Nix. You can't be, throwing the ball 10 to 15 yards to Marvin Mims. He's just not that great of a route runner. He's getting better, but he really exceeds in the deep ball. So maybe, you really start to prioritize some go routes or some skinny posts and see what he could do at the line of scrimmage, beating guys, off the line of scrimmage. I think it's possible. Likelihood, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 right now. I'm about 50-50 on the fence. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown Mailbag episode. Remember to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, be cool. Dylan. I am so sweaty. I don't know what it is, man. It's just like I can't seem to... Whoa! We got a $20 super chat from Bossman Jay, who's dropping some big time news. Check this out. Boss Man says, "Hey, Moose, my wife is pregnant." Another Broncos fan in the world. Everybody spam Boss Man J right now in the chat. Dylan, throw some Boss Man J's in the chat right now. That is unbelievable news, my friend. Congratulations to you. There is nothing better in this world, believe me when I say this, than bringing a child in and having your family grow. I don't have any kids yet. I really want 3 kids. And if it were up to me, my fiance and I would have had kids like yesterday. But we're waiting till we're married. We're waiting till we're a little bit more settled down financially in our life. But congratulations to you. How many kids do you have, by the way? Is this your first, or is this number 2 or number 3? If you're comfortable answering that question. If not, then don't answer it. Unbelievable. Congratulations to Boss Man J. Having another kid come into the world is unbelievable. I know somebody's in the chat right now, and it's the Patriots Today channel. Everybody spam boo. Spam boo Alper. Congratulations, Boss Man J, man. That is unbelievable. Clapping it up for you. That hashtag Boss Baby is amazing. Danny is coming up with the killer hashtag right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get him out of here. Drake May over Bo Nix. That is laughable, Alper. Laughable. Get Boo Alper going as well, Mr. Producer Dylan. Unbelievable. No, Alper. Yeah, let's get his name correct, because remember, he's still a host here at Chat Sports, no matter how wrong he actually is. Get those Boo Alpers going in the chat down below. How could you say Drake May is better than Bo Nix? It's not even close. Drake May was I don't want to say he was bad last year. He just kind of existed. The Patriots suck, though. So. No, you're good, brother. Don't worry. It sounded like I said Albert. His name's Brett, but we call him Alper. There we go. Boo Alper. Drake May's better than Bo Nix. Insane work right there. Insane work. But congratulations one more time to our guy, Boss Man J, who's bringing hashtag Boss Baby into the world. This is our first, he says. Congratulations to you, my friend. That is unbelievable. Man, that's awesome. We got a pregnancy reveal here on a gender, well, maybe not a gender reveal, but a pregnancy reveal here on Broncos Breakdown. That's awesome. I've got a nice little Lakers report says the Broncos should trade Bo Nix to the Lakers. Well, if he decided to start playing basketball, I guess that would be a possibility. He'd be a point guard because he's only 6'3". What up, Ty Man? Great to see you, my friend. I don't know. It's maybe because I did this to Alper on his first live stream. Yeah, but I didn't do it from the Broncos Breakdown channel. Because Drake May isn't 70. It's supposed to be like... Yeah, because he's saying Bo, when he was drafted, was really old. Well, Tyler, if Bo is 70, Tyler Shuck is like, 95. Listen, Broncos fans are going to have my back here. They're going to boo Alper out of the building. Boo this man! All right, let's get a countdown clock going, Mr. Dillon. We've been on here and taking up some time here. We're at about an hour 15. Let's do 3 minutes. We'll do a 3-minute super chat clock, and then we will skedaddle on out of here. We did just hit 50 likes, though, by the way. Ooh, here we go. John Emery says, do you still talk to Matt? My health is approved, and my MELD score has dropped. For a while. Could you let Matt know? I can let Matt know. I do have Matthew Peterson's number, so I will be sure to text him and make sure that he has an update on what you got going on. Congratulations, by the way. Always good to be in great health. All right, remember, we just were issued a new sub challenge before we get ready to end today's show. The Chiefs Report has challenged us to a sub battle until the very first preseason game. So, if you haven't already, and if you have, that's great. Appreciate it. Type me down in the comment section down below. But if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are 35 subscribers away. Actually, I think a little bit less now. To 37K, which is a huge milestone for the channel. And it helps out grow our channel, but also puts more Broncos content on your timeline. And it's completely free. Doesn't cost $1. Danny's been subscribed for like ever. I'm Just Existing says, Moose, what is your favorite team? He's... What do you want? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Patriots today. Ooh, we're gonna win the East. No, that's got to be Colin. That's got to be Colin. Ty Man says, me. Josh Kirby says, for real, Alper, why are you in this chat? Ooh, gotcha. Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, we're good. All right, appreciate you stopping by, even though you're wrong. All in good fun. All in good fun. We have a lot of fun here at Chat Sports. Mark, you're a real one. He liked the video. We're at 55 likes and only 53 viewers, so we're over 100%, Dylan. That deserves a little round of applause as well. All right, in 35 seconds, we're going to close out today's show. If you want to get one last super chat in to round us up to $30 for the show, it would be greatly appreciated. We're more than halfway there to our goal of 50, which would get us that football. One more time, you want to show that football for me? If you support the United States military, I salute you. And this salute to service kind of feels oddly appropriate, does it not? The Mile High salute, Veterans Day, Broncos country, we love our men and women that are in the service. And listen, I just got to tell you, I love this country, man. I love feeling patriotic. I love supporting the United States military. I donate every single year. It is a big, big passion of mine. And I can't tell you how much I love that they're over there fighting every single day for our benefit and our safety. So if you want to help support the channel and support the United States military, Super Chat, easiest way to do that. Okay, that is going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday with another show for you, and that's when Broncos training camp actually begins for the rookies. So we'll have plenty of content to dive into. Until next week, my name is Moose. Be cool.